morning. So today we're going to do a little vlog about lunging. Lunging is much used, much abused form of working with our horses. So, well, first of all, why do we lunge our horses? Mainly, well, when we're not going to ride them, to give them a bit of extra exercise, to warm up maybe, to warm the back before we're going to get on, maybe to take the freshness off if they've been shut in. It's also much used for training with reins and gadgets on, which I don't do that anymore, but that's maybe a subject we'll touch on at some point. Yeah, so if there's been a problem with the back, if you're just getting the horse back into work, and also with a young horse, to get them used to wearing the saddle, to get them used to the aids for when we're going to get on, stuff like that. So Umo, of course, is a young horse. He knows how to be lunged. Okay, so before we start, we're just going to have a look at the equipment we need for lunging. There are purpose-made lunging cavitins of many different types. I don't use them anymore because they fasten tightly around the horse's jaw, which means he can't express himself, he can't open his jaw if things are bothering him, and he can't relax and stretch his jaw when he needs to. So I would use, if I needed more control, a well-fitting rope halter. You see, this one I'm using as a stable halter, but I wouldn't use that one for working because it doesn't really fit properly. So this one, this is slightly small, but we can show. So the important point with the rope halter is that the top bit here goes below the horse's jaw, so that if we needed extra control and we really had to pull, we're pulling from here. It might not be ideal, the rope halter, because it can slide around a bit and go in the eye. I mean, this, if it fits properly, it shouldn't. Today we're going to be in the small arena, obviously with a fence, so we're not going to need a lot of control. So we're going to use just a normal stable halter, which is actually my preferred thing to use anyway. Oh, this is a longer rope, so if I was using the rope halter, I would tie on this longer rope, and it just coils up nicely, so it's actually easier to work with than a webbing lunge line. We are going to use a lunge line today because it matches the halter better, and it's best to fold that up and just have it over your hand so that the bit that comes out first is the next bit to go. It's also a good idea when you're using these ropes and things just to get the habit of just rolling them up a bit like that. Where are you going, Umo? So that you know, just practice a bit with that. When you're lunging and working with the thing, what you don't want to do is look down at your rope, because that of course is giving the horse a signal to stop. So I'm going to put a leather halter on just because it's smarter than a webbing one. We can fasten it onto the back of the halter, but we can also fasten it onto the sides and then just change it from one side to the other when we change direction. So that's a bit more effective, you know, more of a direct feel if we're asking the horse to bend towards us. I've got a very scruffy old lunge rope here, which as soon as we're out of lockdown, I will get Boyd to repair for me. So we're just going to put it on that side, and the only other thing we could use is a lunging whip, some kind of stick. Sometimes I use a flag, just so we can give the horse signals with that. So we're going to have a look at that when we go round to the arena. Protectors, boots, overreach boots, tendon boots, anything like that I'm not going to use because we're going to be doing quite a gentle session. He doesn't brush. I mean, if you've got a healthy, well-balanced horse, you probably don't really need them, but that's an individual choice, and some horses do obviously need a bit of protection, so either bandages, boots, anything like that can be useful. Okay, so let's go round to the arena and have a little look at safety. Safety aspects of lunging is much like what we said in the last one about loose schooling, you know, the obvious things about not standing in the kick zone. Again, if your horse has a good basic education, you shouldn't have any problem with this. First, before you lunge, you should be able to lead your horse, and it really is just an extension of leading, but you're further away. I mean, I don't wear gloves because I like to be able to feel my horse. I love the feel of stroking a horse. So unless it's very cold, I don't wear gloves. I mean, if you think your horse is going to pull and give you rope burns, then by all means use gloves. But I think if that's the case, maybe it's to address that and why that's happening before you would go on with lunging. Again, the body language we're going to use is the same as for the loose schooling. So very important, when we're lunging, we're still going to use our body language, our energy, when we're turning, use the breath when we're stopping, grow up with our energy when we want them to go. So we're going to use all them as asks before we use the rein or the stick. I mean, the stick's going to be just a pointer. I don't want my horse to run away from it. My main use of that would be for asking him maybe to stay out on the circle, so I can ask him with the rope to bend towards me but not come in. So before we start, I'm just going to check over with him, as we don't usually use this, to make sure he's not scared of it, because I don't want him running away from it. So let's just take a look at what he thinks about it. I'm going to make sure I stay relaxed and I'm looking down, so I'm not giving him any idea that he has to go somewhere. I don't want him to get scared of it. He's looking, he's paying attention, but he's not actually scared of it. So I'm keeping myself very relaxed so he doesn't think he has to go anywhere. He's having a look. Take it up here and it's fine, and we'll just check that out on the other side as well. So just remembering that everything we do on the ground does relate to when we ride. It's all relevant, so we should always do things in a way that will be useful for when we're on top of the horse as well. So to start off, there's several different ways people use for starting the horse off. For me, the easiest way that makes more sense to the horse is to be standing just behind the saddle. So you make a triangle with the horse, your body at the point, and the other two sides are the lunge line and the whip or stick or whatever you're using. So that the horse is basically behind your hands and in front of your legs would be the equivalent for riding. So you can drive him from behind, you're standing slightly behind the saddle. Of course, your position, like we talked about in the loose schooling, is very important, that you're not blocking him from being able to go forward, you know, that the front door is wide open where we want him to go. So one way we can start off would just be by offering a direction with the rope, looking where we want the horse to go and asking him to go off. Or we can stand slightly behind the saddle area, use our intention first, our energy, our body language, and if that's not enough, we can use some movement with the stick as well to ask the horse to go. So however you start yourself off, the important thing is that you move in towards the horse. You walk towards him and into the direction that he's going. That you don't step back, you know, it's about who move whose feet. So you have to make sure the horse is moving out of your space and he's not pushing you back. And I think people often have trouble with lunging, and it's because of that, because the horse is cutting across into their space and they're then getting out of the horse's way. So you can do that gently, calmly, but very firmly to walk into the direction of movement. I just want to mention today, of course, we're in the small arena. We've had so much rain this spring that the big one's still wet. In fact, it's turned into a bit of a pasture full of flowers at the moment, so we'll have to rescue that when it dries out. But for me, important point with lunging is variety. If we just go round and round and round, it makes the horses very robotic. So the important thing is to use the whole arena. We can walk up and down the centre line, we can make a circle at either end, we can make circles in the middle, we can change the length of our rope, we can make small circles in the corners, on the long side, wherever we like. We can spiral in the centre, make the circle small, make the circle bigger, and lots of transitions is a good thing we can practice on the lunge. So transitions within the pace, seeing how slow we can go in one pace, how much we can lengthen in one pace, and transitions. You know, it's a fun game sometimes I play, you know, we make a big circle and see how many transitions can we do, how many can we fit in that circle, rather than just going round and round. And also changing from side to side often and taking breaks in the middle. You can hold the rope, I think, in whatever way works best for you, however you're more comfortable. It can be underhand the same way as if when you were riding, or you can hold it more over the palm of your hand and let the rope go through your hand. I use both ways. It depends what I'm doing. If I'm shortening the horse or relaxing more, it's, you know, the position of your arm change, the posture change, how it feels. So I think that's just to play a bit what works for you. So very important when you're lunging the horse to keep in mind your own posture. The horses will mirror our posture, so it's nice sometimes just to be aware if you can just relax your neck, let your head droop down a bit and relax your shoulders, and that can encourage the horse to drop his head and stretch his neck. Similarly, if we energize, open our posture up, we can ask him to come up and move with more energy. How we're holding our equipment, that the arms should be supported from the shoulders. You can roll your shoulders, open your shoulders back so your arms just drop down, your elbows stay at your side, you're grounded, centered in your body, so your firmness can come from your body while your wrists can stay flexible and soft, so that your communications with the horse can be gentle and subtle. And the other thing that came to me was just about having time to go with your horse. In what pace of walk, trot and canter should you work the horse? I think the thing is to try and find the pace that he is naturally happy in and go with him and feel that, and then that's your base to work for. So from that pace you can slow it down and speed it up. Some horses naturally have a much more clockwork kind of rhythm than others, so sometimes we need to work more on keeping the rhythm or not. But yeah, I think the important thing is to go with the horse, then you ask him to go with you by shortening or lengthening the stride, and then you can both go together again. Stop asking as soon as he responds, as usual. Okay, so I think that's it for today, Umo, and thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time.